Hello and welcome to Passport to Pittsburgh Adventures. I'm your host, Kim Adley, and I'm happy to bring you on a fun adventure on Pittsburgh's North Shore. We're going to be starting a series this summer called Explore the North Shore, Pittsburgh's playground, where you can come and do all fun things. And we're starting today at an iconic spot that was built in 2001, PNC Park. It's been named one of the best ballparks in America. And, as I think it should be, it has just about everything. A retro style of seating, a spectacular view of the skyline of Pittsburgh, and a riverfront concourse, and also eateries. And, of course, we're going to look at some other fun things that you can see when you come to PNC Park. The park is steel and limestone. How appropriate for Pittsburgh. And it's the fifth home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Of course, they were in the Three River Stadium, which was imploded. And then, of course, we got our two new stadiums here in the playground of Pittsburgh, Heinz Field and PNC Park. Well, we're going to learn more about PNC Park today and some of the other wonderful things that you can see around the park before you go in for a game. It's baseball season, everyone, and time to play ball. So here we are at PNC Park, and I'm happy to welcome my co-host today and a special guest, Alan Levine, the Talking Machine. And of course, you all know BPT followers. You know that Alan Levine has several shows and produces several shows on BPTV. And I'm happy to have you with me, Alan.
Thank you, Kim.
Look where we are. We're at PNC Park.
One of my favorite places.
I know, in front of one of your favorite players' statues.
My hero.
And of course, today, in part of my series in focusing on Explore the North Shore, we are visiting some of the wonderful sites around PNC Park.
Yes, we are.
And I know you brought a special guest with you today to tell us more about the statues at PNC Park, and we want to bring her out. She's really, really wonderful, and I think you're all going to learn so much about the statues and how they were created. And her name is what?
Susan Wagner.
Where is she?
Where is Susan?
Here she comes. Hi, everybody. Hi, Susan.
As you all know, the Roberto Clemente means a lot to me. And I always wondered who the sculptor was. And I do shows with the jazz singer Jessica Lee, as you know, by request. And she's all over the city. And one time she goes, I'm going to have the sculptor of Roberto Clemente on my show. This is the lady that created Roberto Clemente. Susan, welcome aboard and tell us your story about this.
Thank you. To this day, some people still think a man did this. I have to tell you a story. Real quick.
No, take your time.
Okay. I was at my bank in Bloomfield, and I had a small bronze in my hands. And the teller knew me and said to the man standing behind me, said, "This is the lady that sculpted the Clemente and the Stargell?" And the man said, "No, she isn't." He said, "Yes, she is." And I'm standing there holding a small bronze. And he kept saying, "Well, do you know so-and-so from Highmark?" I said, "No." "Do you know so-and-so from this organization?" I said, "No." He says, "You're lying, lady." He said, "I know
You're
the truth."
kidding. What a mean guy.
He said, well, he thought we were teasing him.
Yeah.
And he said, "I know the truth. The Pirates sent to England to hire a man to come over and sculpt Clemente."
Wow.
And I said, "No, I sculpted Clemente." He said, "You keep on saying that, lady." He was getting angrier and angrier. And the teller, his jaw's on the floor, and I'm standing there smiling. And the man left. Because he thought we were teasing him. And the teller said to me, "Aren't you insulted?" I said, "No, this is a great story and a compliment. It's okay. He'll eventually find out that we were not teasing him." So
What a great story.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back a little bit in time. How did you even get interested to do the Roberto
good
Clemente?
question.
You've told that before, but please tell our fans here.
Okay, what happened was I worked my way through college. I went to the University of Pittsburgh, and one of my freelance jobs was making sketches of who the Pitt newspaper is going to do an article about. Well, I got hold of this man this photograph of a man. He had no uniform on. I didn't know who he was right away. And I'm drawing him, and I'm thinking, my God, he's so beautiful. And I said, his eyes are just gorgeous. I have to read this article. It was an article about Roberto Clemente and how he passed away. And I tell you, that second on, I fell in love with that man.
And by the way, that was December 31st, 1972.
Yes, well, 10 years later, I found out that the Pirates were going to sculpt Roberto Clemente. And I still didn't know how famous he was. I knew he was a Pittsburgh baseball player. So I got chills. I said, I have to sculpt this man because I loved him so much. Never saw him play, but
Wow.
I just
You just were awestruck by his photo.
yes, and his how he passed away and
Yeah,
his
the
life
tragedy.
just from that article. Then I found out they were going to have a competition, and my heart sunk. You know, I thought I'm never going to get it. Well, long story short, there were about 10 people who tried out from New York, Puerto Rico, famous people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
all over the world then?
Well,
Or close?
close. And I thought, I'm never going to get this. I make my version, and there were no names, no prices, nothing. And I have to do this. I'm going to try. So a couple months later, I get a phone call from the Pirates, and they said, Susan, we have good news and bad news. I said, tell me the bad news first.
Yes.
You know, and they said, you're going to be very busy. And I said, why? Well, you got it. And I screamed.
That
I
is
screamed
great.
all day. I called everybody I knew. I just screamed and screamed.
What
and
an
screamed.
accomplishment.
I was shocked.
Yes.
And then I walk into the conference. They look at me like, what's this little girl doing here? They didn't know I was a woman.
Yeah.
And they said, are you sure you can do this? I said, yes, I know I can. And I just knew it. And I had only done one sculpture before that. The Greensburg Memorial, the Scud missile attack.
Yeah.
The male and female soldier, that was the only life size. They said, well, we need a 12-foot.
Yeah.
So I started shaking. Can you do that? Yes. Oh, yes.
Look
Well-
what she did.
Scared to death the whole time. But I ended up sculpting. I met the Clemente family.
Wow.
I found out their choice for my version was unanimous with the pirate officials and
By
the
the
architects.
family. Wow.
And the architects and the pirate officials.
That is
And
great.
It was unanimous, and I thought, wow.
Who
You know,
knew?
I know. I was shocked. I was
This
shocked.
little lady from Pittsburgh.
The whole time I was shocked, and they still didn't know I could. They weren't. They were unsure, and I got that. I understood it. They said, "Can you sculpt a bust of Roberto so we know you can sculpt his face?" So I did.
You did
know.
what they said? Did you
Yes.
create, what are those little statues called?
Those are called maquettes.
Maquettes.
They're a small version, and that's what sculptors call it.
It's all new to me.
Yeah, it's okay. You're not supposed to know that. I'm supposed to know that.
Thank you.
It's okay. But that's what I entered, a small version of this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I sculpted it in upstate New York at Talix.
And what is the process? You know I'm a curious guy.
The foundry makes a 12-foot armature. That's like a skeleton
Okay.
out of rebar. And
Wow.
then I sculpt, the clay is applied. I sculpt when that's done. So I'm on ladders and scaffolding.
That's what I wondered, because that's
Yeah.
a little taller than you, my friend.
A little. But, you know, the people at Talix were so wonderful. They knew I was terrified. You know, I
Sure.
never did a 12-foot. I couldn't speak for 3 days.
Wow.
When I
How long did this take to put together?
It took,
Be honest now.
okay, it took about 2 months for me to
2 months.
sculpt.
Up and down those scaffolding and
Yeah,
ladders.
yeah.
You must have been worn out.
Well, you know, you get into that zone and you don't know how exhausted you are till afterwards.
What else, on closing this with Roberto, what else do you have to say?
Okay, my life took a right turn from then on.
For the better?
It's different. I never expected.
There you go. We're going to move on. Stay with us.
Okay.
Well, here we are back again with our wonderful guest today, Susan Wagner, the artist and sculptor of the fabulous statues that enhance PNC Park experience. And I know that you, Alan, talked to you about the Roberto Clemente statue, and now we're in front of a statue of a player that I'm familiar with because it was during my growing up, Willie Stargell.
Yes.
The first statue was Roberto Clemente.
Yes.
And then how did the progression for the other statues follow?
Okay, well, what happened was Steve Greenberg, who used to work for the Pirates, a wonderful guy. I really liked him. We got along great. He just said, Susan, do your work. You know, and anything I needed, they let me in the archives. I got the uniform. I had the Clemente uniform with me and the Stargell uniform, and I guarded them with my life when I was up there.
Like, those are like museum pieces,
I know.
aren't they? Yes.
I know. People said, "Is that the real uniform?" I said, "Oh no, it's a replica." You know, I wouldn't even tell anybody. I was very guarded. But anyhow, Steve Greenberg called me. I knew they were building a new stadium, and he said, "Susan, they had confidence in me by this time. Susan, would you like to do a sculpture of Willie Stargell?" I said, "Of course." How large? They said 12 foot. I said, "When do you need it?" They said, "In a year." I said, "See you then." I was not afraid.
Yes.
Because
You knew you could do it.
I knew it. And it was like, Clemente was only my second sculpture ever. And it was like somebody throwing me into the ocean saying, "Learn how to swim." So now I can do anything. Nothing scares me. If somebody said, "I want something half a mile high," I said, "Okay, when do you need it?" You know, so I knew.
I love your positive spirit, and you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
To women who
Yes.
who are trying to accomplish big things in a typical man's world.
It's very difficult.
Believe me.
Very difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're just so inspiring.
Thank you.
And I want to just talk a little bit about how you didn't study art, but you came into this kind of through the back door.
Right. I went to the University of Pittsburgh, where I had a double major of painting and anthropology. And when I graduated, I didn't know whether to go on a dig as an anthropologist, because I was fascinated with prehistory, or go on to become a professor of painting, because I had some bad teachers and I wanted to be a good teacher and not inhibit anybody.
I get
That
it.
was my goal.
Yes.
And instead, I got married. And
I get that too.
Yeah.
I love your story.
and at that year, all the steel mills shut down.
yes.
I couldn't find a job anywhere. I ended up being a waitress again, but I kept going on interview after interview after interview. I knew I was a good worker. I worked hard. I never missed deadlines. I knew I could do it. And all the before the computers, studios would hire artists to make newspaper ads for fashion. I knew I could do that. I have a strong graphic design sensibility, and I kept going on interview for a year, and everybody kept saying no, they're laying people off. And what happened was, I went on my last interview in Monroeville. I showed him my portfolio, and the guy was rotten. He said, "This is horrible, you have no talent." And so okay, everybody's right, I'm going to stop. So this is why I kind of believe in angels. This other man came around the corner and said, "Did you interview with that guy?" And I said, "Yes." "Well, he's a jerk. Let me see what you have." So he looked at my portfolio. He says, "You are extremely talented." And I have one photograph of one little sculpture I did. He says, "You are one hell of a sculptor." And I said, "I am?" He said, "Yes. You call my friend tomorrow."
So
And-
glad that you ran into
Yes.
that person who
I think he was an angel.
who affirmed your talent.
Yeah, and from that, I got a large bas relief about 2 foot high, and waitressing, taking care of a house. I did that during the evening, and after about a week, I turned it in, and I was worried that it took so long. And the guy said, "You aced this, and how did you do it so fast?" I said, "Thank you. Do you have any more work?" So that's how I started my own business. And
Fantastic.
I worked my own business since college. I've never worked for anybody else but me.
I love it. As a female entrepreneur myself, I am inspired by you, and
Thank you.
And I'm so really honored to have you as my guest today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I know. I just love it. So now you tell us how long. Tell us more about Willie.
Okay, Willie.
How long did it take to make Willie?
It about the same time,
Uh-huh.
and he was. I asked Steve Greenberg what pose they wanted, or did you
Yes.
want me to create one? They said, no, we want this pose. I said, okay. So I got a lot of photographs from the Pirates. They were so wonderful to me, and I got, like I said, I got his uniform, his bat, his shoes, his helmet, because I don't have ESP. I need to see when I'm sculpting.
Well, you make it so realistic.
Thank you.
Yes.
And studied videos and watched him play. A lot of people. I know everybody loved him. I wanted to
Yes.
just show his power, and that was how this came about.
It is a powerful statue.
Thank
and
you.
It exudes his personality at the time, and he was a slugger and hitting
Yeah.
all those home runs. And I remember, I was a kid then, but when he hit a home run, there was chicken on the hill.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he own
Right.
a chicken place?
Right.
And
yeah.
also, that was the era of the We Are Family campaign with the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Yeah.
and he was very instrumental in that.
I remember that.
So when a finished statue's done, how much do they weigh?
Each one weighs 2,000 pounds.
2,000
Each one of
pounds.
these. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's quite an ordeal getting them transported. And,
Right.
Yes.
Right. And they're brought down from the foundry in upstate New York on a flatbed truck.
Mhm.
And I have pictures of Roberto laying flat, all shrouded in pink. I don't know why. But, I kept that, and you have to have professional installers install the bronze. They know what they're doing.
Right.
We each have a job, and working with a foundry, it's like I'm only as good as my team,
Yes.
okay? And everybody has to know exactly what they're doing. I can't just go to somebody who says, "Oh, I know how to do that." No.
No.
You,
Absolutely.
there's,
I
there's
understand.
like good plumbers and bad
want-
plumbers.
That's right. You need a quality team to produce
Yes.
a quality product.
Yes, I always say I'm only as good as my team.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if I have a bad team, it shows. Believe me.
I understand.
Yeah.
Tell me now, are the works signed?
I always sign my pieces
Yes. And where would
on the left leg, inside the calf.
If you come down to the park, look for Susan's signature. I'm so glad that you sign all of these works,
Yeah.
and I know you have a great story about the signatures
Yeah.
on the statues. So please tell
I do.
us.
Okay, here's the story. A well-meaning manager up at Talix said, "Susan, don't ever sign your full name. You won't be taken seriously. Just sign S. Wagner." I said, "Really?" So I signed Susan Wagner, and that's the story. He meant well. He was trying to protect me.
Girl power.
But I can't. You
be
can't.
who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
I said they have
Absolutely.
to. Yeah.
Good for you.
That was it.
Susan Wagner.
Yeah. I signed
She's
my
awesome.
full name.
Thank you. Alan, I've had such a fun time today filming our show.
Kim, so have I, and the weather is perfect. There's even a breeze over here. It feels great.
Spectacular Pittsburgh weather here on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. And we have been focusing on PNC Park and all of the fabulous fun things you can see around the park. And we're at the last statue that Susan Wagner created, the statue of beloved player of Pittsburgh Pirates, Bill Mazeroski. And Alan, you know the story behind the action here, don't you?
I was just 4 years old, but I heard this rumor that
But wait, Alan, I wasn't born. So
Oh.
you tell it.
I grew up with hearing, how about that Bill Mazeroski, one of the best second basemen ever in baseball. He actually had more double plays than anybody else, even today. I think he has over 3,300 double plays. All of you baseball fans that play short and second base, he's number one. Well, guess what made him famous? The first walk-off home run to win a World Series game in 1960 by Bill Mazeroski with a slugfest against the New York Yankees, who they thought were invincible and beat us in 4 games. They crushed us with runs, but we won 4 games and became the 1960 World Series champs. There
I
you
can
go.
hear the crowd cheering, Alan, as you're announcing it.
Yes, look at that
Look
wall.
And you know what? Even the sculpture really exudes that enthusiasm, doesn't it?
Isn't Susan the best? It's so
She
lifelike.
is. She is. And just the joy on Mazeroski's face, and of course the joy that Pittsburghers really felt as we won that World Series in 1960.
And I have one little story to share with you.
Yes.
I moved to Bethel Park in 1983, and my next door neighbor, I was always a sports guy. Well, he told me, he goes, "Did you see one of the kids chasing Bill Mazeroski to home?" And I said, "Yeah, there were a few of them." Well, he said, "I was this dark-haired kid about 10 feet behind him chasing Bill Mazeroski to home after he hit the home run. My neighbor was there
Wow.
as a young kid."
I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to Google the footage so I can watch it again.
Yes, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Then another story, Bing Crosby, you remember the famous crooner? He was part owner of the Pirates. They only found this out a few years ago. He had film of the last game of the World Series. Nobody knew it, and now it's out there that you can see Bing Crosby's copy of the game. How cool
Wow,
is that?
That is very cool.
Those are some of my facts just for you. One take, Kim.
I love it. And you know, when you come down to PNC Park, I hope that you'll want to visit all of the 3 statues. There's an additional statue of
Tell them
Honus-
that one, please.
Honus Wagner. And make sure you stop by there as well. He was born in Carnegie and was beloved by children. His baseball card is the most expensive baseball card, and there's a great story that goes with that.
Yes, there is.
Go ahead.
Well, he was a non-smoker, and they put his card on one of these smoking cards that they'd give with a pack of cigarettes. He pulled all of his cards off, so there were only maybe like 10 or 12 that actually made it into people's hands. And I think even Wayne Gretzky paid for one of those cards. It was millions of dollars, I think.
Right. And so he pulled them all because he was such an advocate for children, and he didn't want kids who loved him and wanted his baseball card to buy cigarettes to get his card. It's a great
what a
story.
good man.
A good man, a good Pittsburgher.
And he's famous for being one of the best shortstops ever, who was one of the first inductees to the Baseball Hall of Fame. You can Google that too, Kim.
I will. So next time you're down on the playground of Pittsburgh, the North Shore, come to a Pirate game and cheer on the Buccos, raise the Jolly Roger, and check out all of the iconic statues of Pittsburgh heroes that surround beautiful PNC Park. You know, Alan, it's named one of the best ballparks in America.
Let me co-sign that right now. I've been behind home plate and box seats. I've been in field boxes. I've been out in the outfield. I've been on the sidelines, first base, third base. Guess what, folks? There's not a bad seat in the stadium. I was at Forbes Field when I was a young man, and guess where I sat? Right behind one of the steel beams. And my dad kept going, "How was the game, Alan?"
I don't know.
I couldn't see it. But PNC Park, again, not one bad seat.
They're known for having every seat having a great line of sight.
I confirmed it.
And so also, in addition, you get to see the spectacular skyline of our beautiful city, the beautiful Allegheny River, and it's just a fun day out. So come on out, support our Bucks, and enjoy and explore the North Shore. Because you know what? It's play ball season.
Play ball.
Play ball! Well, here we are at the end of a very famous bridge in Pittsburgh, Alan, the Roberto Clemente Bridge, also known as the 6th Street Bridge.
Yes,
And-
I remember those days.
Yes, right. And it's, you know, when folks come down to a ball game, they close the Clemente Bridge so that it's pedestrian only.
I've been here. Yes, it's great.
It's so fun, isn't it? It has a really exciting energy about it, and you know, an atmosphere, and it's so we got to get people back in the park, Alan.
Yes, we're ready.
We are ready.
Yes.
So when folks come down from to come to a game and they're coming across the bridge, they might notice all of these locks on the Roberto Clemente Bridge. And
I always did.
And you probably went, "Why are those locks on the bridge?"
I did.
And I'm going to tell you.
Thank you.
So we're very fortunate to have a bridge in Pittsburgh that carries on a custom that started in France.
I didn't know that.
Yes, on a bridge in Paris where people would go and they would, couples would go and lock their love in place on the bridge.
Wow, how romantic
I
on the
know.
Roberto Clemente Bridge.
I know, and throw away the key. And you can see all the people who have put their locks on the bridge and locked their love in place. The bridge in Paris was so inundated with locks that the city had to close the bridge, Alan, and cut all the locks off
No.
because the safety of the bridge was in jeopardy.
The
There was-
integrity of the
it
bridge
was
and
so
steel.
heavy. The
Wow.
locks, yeah.
How many thousands did they put there? Millions.
Who knows? Who knows? So did you bring our lock?
No, I left it with you.
I forgot our lock.
Unbelievable.
Next time. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Kim Adley with Passport to Pittsburgh Adventures. It's been such a fun day, Alan.
Yes, it has.
And I've really enjoyed exploring PNC Park, part of the exciting North Shore of Pittsburgh. And I wish there was a game today, don't you?
Yes, I do. I would have enjoyed it, Kim, but sad to say, great day, but no baseball here.
I know, but I'm in the mood for baseball, so I brought us a little treat.
One of my favorites.
I brought us some Cracker Jack, Alan.
I'll fight you for the treat.
Okay, you can have the treat. I'll share it with you.
You're the best,
Can I
Kim.
bring you some peanuts too?
Wait a second. I hid it from the camera.
Ah,
Nothing
so-
like having peanuts and baseball.
and Cracker Jack.
Oh, you got to have the Cracker Jacks. Take me out to the ball game.
Yeah. I hope today's show has inspired you to come down and see a game. Get back in the stadium and support our Pittsburgh Pirates and explore the North Shore as well. And would you just do me a favor?
What's that?
Would you sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with me?
Yes, I'm not a good singer.
That's okay.
I'll try to keep up.
Okay, great.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and
I'm eating 'em.
Cracker Jack.
I'm eating them.
I
Delicious.
don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root
Root
for the Pirates. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause
It's one,
2,
two, 3 strikes you're out of the old ball game.